real quickly before we jump into the video, I want to let you guys know that we're getting back on that stream grind, so if you're interested in coming out, hanging out, saying what's up, or whatever it may be, there's a link down below in the description that'll take you over to my Twitch page if you guys want to toss a follow. That said, we'll be live tonight, and maybe even by the time you're watching this, we might be live at the very moment. So if you're interested, link in the description below, but back to the regular scheduled content. Earlier in the day, we ended up detailing the brand new specialist Outrider within Black Ops 4, broke down a little bit of the abilities, the weapon itself, and what all you can end up doing with Outrider to master the specialist. Then we ended up talking about the brand new weapons, the Switchblade X9, the Rampage, the Cha-Ching, a bunch of different reactive camos, a brand new Mastercraft, and a couple of other ones that are still along the way. But now to close out the final video of the day here, we are going to be talking about the brand new maps and map adjustments to the already existing Blackout map. We have two brand new multiplayer maps as a part of the Black Ops Pass. That's going to be something that, of course, refreshes a little bit of the playlist and matchmaking abilities, and will probably start initially in their own playlist come tomorrow, but I ended up having the hands-on opportunity to get some footage here of this out at Treyarch in Los Angeles, California. Thanks to my good friends at Treyarch and Activision for flying me out there in the hospitality. But today we're going to talk a little bit about those maps on a general perspective, give you guys my thoughts and feedback about all that kind of stuff, and also, of course, show off some of the footage here with this. Now, admittedly, some of this footage you might have seen already if you have checked out some of the videos earlier in the day, and that's simply because we are allotted per embargo rulings only 10 minutes of early footage for each of the maps that we've played on. So I do apologize if there is some overlap, try and keep it as fresh as possible, but let's just break into the maps a little bit at their core. Let's start out with Lockup. This is an LAPD station that is under siege, and one that I'm really interested in because it plays, firstly, rather well. It's got some cool little quirks to it, but the part that I really liked about it was the background lore here at this. We're probably going to be breaking it down in a full explanation video at some point, but there's a lot of cool little Easter eggs and hints that tie into the backstory of Black Ops 4 as compared to Casino, which was rather curious to me. I mean, there are some things in Casino that are really interesting, but Casino was branded from some of the leaks that this would have some backstory in that. And when Eggslasher and I sat down and tried to look for some stuff within the lore of the map and some of the clues there, we didn't find as much on Casino as we did within Lockup. So outside of the story elements, though, the things that really interest me on the back end of that, it plays rather well. It's got some verticality to it. You'll see that there is one entire portion that is an elevated roof that you can play on. You can look into where B flag is. You can end up dropping into where one of the flags are as well in the offices. And then on the other side, it's a little bit more wide open. The spawns are honestly a little predictable. One thing to note, though, going into it is the garage. You can actually interact with the doors and open those up. So they're not definitive choke points. So just be conscious of that. I know that I ended up having a clip you probably saw already where I was holding down the one control point, but then somebody came in because I didn't realize they could have opened that door and just blasted me in the back. Ultimately, though, the map is very CQC whenever it comes to a lot of the engagements. There are the lines of sight that are open in the courtyard a little bit more, and also that garage side has a nice line of sight as well, leading on the side of the main compound, but it is something that you're probably going to flourish with an SMG, maybe even a shotgun, but you can still pull off some AR gunplay and also maybe even some snipes. I know that I ran into somebody that in one of the control games was just pulling some snipes off in that open courtyard. But it is a lot of fun, and I think you guys will enjoy it if you do have the Black Ops Pass. Moving along, though, to the next map, that being Casino. This one is really cool, but it's honestly a lot bigger than you'd think. It doesn't feel big when you're in the action because there's so many different angles where people can be coming at you, and it's all really kind of all in that one main area where there's the Rotunda bar. But once you die, you realize, man, this map is actually pretty large because it takes a bit of time to get back into the action. It is very easy for spawn traps to come into play here, and that's something that is unfortunate. I'm hoping that spawn logic is either adjusted slightly or it is something that doesn't get abused. But for the most part, whenever you end up playing it, you're going to end up seeing there is a lot of gunplay towards the middle, but outside of that, it's just kind of running Simulator 2019 in some aspects. All in all, though, it's a map that really suits more so, I think, the AR and SMG play. Some of the rooms does suit some close quarters combat stuff with the shotguns, but I'd still think that the SMGs and the ARs are going to dominate here. You have just enough open sight lines around the map that's probably the primaries you'll run into, but you can still come into contact with some of the other stuff as well. One fun little Easter egg is you can actually also pop the balloons over by the track car in the glass display. That's something that absolutely does not affect the gameplay at all, but I found rather funny and wanted to share with you guys if you want to check it out for yourself. But ultimately, Casino is pretty fast-paced still. It still keeps the action up, but unlike Lockdown, there is no verticality differences, save for the side courtyard where there's a little bit of an overhang, but other than that, you're all really on the same level. In terms of backstory, I was actually really surprised we didn't see as many Crash tie-ins and also Reaper tie-ins as you might have thought, or at least that weren't hidden in plain view. That's something that we're probably gonna have to dig a little further on this to find out the true nature of this casino, but it is something that is also littered with a bunch of Easter eggs. And when you take a look at those, make sure you check out some of the different slot machines and games around the casino and the names of them. Now, those are your Black Ops Pass maps, and unfortunately are only available to those that do have it. It's not like you can buy them a la carte or as a DLC 2 pack, which is something that I still don't agree with in how the Black Ops Pass is working at a fundamental level, but it is something that if you have the Black Ops Pass, those will be available for you guys tomorrow, and if you don't, well, you're like a lot of other players that don't have access to them then. And truth be told, if you don't have them, if you don't have the Black Ops Pass, sure, you'll be missing out a little bit, but it is something that, while I wholly enjoyed these maps, I wouldn't say that they're the catalyst for me to go out and be like, I immediately need to buy the Black Ops Pass. I don't think that that's the case here with this, so they're fun, yes, but unless you're completely sold on what you've seen in the gameplay and you're looking to catch up on some of the other maps, and you're sold on getting the further maps, I don't know that the Black Ops Pass is a must-buy at this point. Now, unfortunately, we don't have any sort of free maps given to multiplayer in that sense, where we've seen things like Seaside Sunset and Firing Range Night, Nuketown, and that whole lot of things. We haven't seen anything just yet added in. That may be coming at a future point here because Operation Grand Heist will last a couple of months and does have content spread out throughout the entire event, so maybe we do see some surprise pop-ups there, which would be absolutely fine by me. But in terms of other map adjustments, the Blackout map actually got its first of presumably 2 adjustments here throughout Grand Heist. We'll talk about the second one in just a second, but we end up seeing the introduction of Ghost Town. Ghost Town is where we initially thought it would be with those teasers of the Buried Lollipop sign and also the clock from the reimagination of Standoff, Outlaw from Black Ops 3. That's now off in that southeast corner of the map, and it's something that's honestly really massive and expansive. And even I think on today's stream, David Vonderhaar said the loot distribution is almost as large of that as construction, which is the largest loot distribution zone in the entire map. So that said, it is absolutely massive, and when you jump in, play your first game tomorrow, and go to Ghost Town, you'll definitely notice it is a big point of interest. I'm talking, there's Standoff up top, there's an excavation mill up on the hill, and then underneath is the entirety of Buried. Now, I should say there's a little bit of an asterisk with that because obviously the maze is over at Asylum, but the entire expansive bottom portion of Buried is underneath the map, underneath Standoff, and underneath that excavation mill. You have the mansion, you have the candy store, you have the jail cells, all that kind of stuff, it's all there, and there is so much loot to be had. Now, just like Hijacked, I imagine this to be a very hotly contested area where players are dropping in as of tomorrow in the first week or so, but the nice part is that it's at least large enough, unlike Hijacked, where you're probably not going to see 80 people go to the same exact building. Maybe you'll have 4 or 5 per building, which is still crazy, but you should be able to find enough loot. And one thing that I will say definitely, though, is make sure that you're careful of your surroundings. I didn't realize that this was going to happen because I got out of the buried portion, walked up the caverns, made my way to the excavation site, and then I started to run out to just try and beat the zone because I had to make my way north, and I jumped without looking, and there's a small little hole that leads all the way down to the bottom again, and I may or may not have downed myself. I don't want to talk about it, but make sure you don't make that mistake. It is an absolutely awesome point of interest, and I think you guys will definitely enjoy it. But that said, it might not be the only point of interest added into Blackout within Operation Grand Heist. Now, like we talked about, Grand Heist is going to be lasting a couple of different months here, lasting all of February, all of March, and then seemingly into April as well. My guess is probably halfway through that. But in the roadmap, there is a classified little event for Blackout, and it's something that also may have had a little bit of a teaser at the very end of the Grand Heist trailer. If you take a look at the screenshots on screen right now and the couple of frames of footage, you'll see that it looks like players are dropping into Alcatraz and at night. So that means that we might have a Blackout nighttime map and also a brand new point of interest of Alcatraz or Mob of the Dead being added in at some point, which may actually go in where that coffee ring in Stain was in the initial Blackout map teaser for Operation Grand Heist. I'd be all for that, and I'm definitely looking forward to hearing more information, but for the time being, tomorrow, you're gonna have access to Ghost Town on PlayStation 4 a week later for Xbox One and PC, and then maybe in March again, we see Alcatraz being added in. certainly excited to see where that leads. But the final thing that I do want to mention is that for those of you guys in MP and Blackout, cool, we got some stuff. But as for Zombies, we might have a little bit of a teaser as well and some information on the next Zombies map. Unfortunately, Zombies will not be playable as of tomorrow as a brand new DLC map, but it will be coming in March. That's something that on the live stream today, Jason Blundell and Craig Houston ended up detailing some stuff about the upcoming DLC map for Zombies. That map is going to be called Ancient Evil, and it is the Chaos storyline. Now, from what they said, it's not all that much information given, but the Chaos story is going to be wrapping up in Black Ops 4 here at this one. My guess is it's probably going to be carrying over into the theoretical Black Ops 5, if you will, and then we see that continue in a little bit of a different manner in that game, but we'll end up seeing the Aether story return for the last 2 DLC maps of Black Ops 4. But outside of that, all we know that, again, it is coming in March, and that's really it. It's for Black Ops pass holders, and outside of that, we only know the location of Delphi, Greece. But all in all, that's the map changes, additions, and Black Ops pass content that we'll be seeing here as of tomorrow and in the very near future. So that said, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Of course, let me know your thoughts on the maps for multiplayer. What are you guys thinking of that? Are you enjoying Lockup and as well Casino? Let me know your thoughts on that. Also, what you think of Ghost Town, and maybe we could talk a little bit further about the Alcatraz Blackout Edition, and also the brand new map Ancient Evil for Zombies in the comments down below. But so hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to drop a like down below. And if you guys are new to the channel and want to stay up to date with all things Black Ops 4, multiplayer, Blackout, Zombies, we got you covered the best of updates, news, information, tips, tricks, all that good stuff. So if any of that interests you, we're going to be killing it with the Operation Grand Heist content here on the channel. This probably is going to conclude our content for today about the early access stuff I had the ability to capture. So hopefully you guys stick around for tomorrow, the update. We're going to be breaking down everything that really changed and a lot of other stuff going into the upcoming days. And real quickly before we wrap up the video, we might hit it even as of the time this video goes live, but I want to thank you guys all so much for the continued support. We're about to hit 200,000 subscribers, and that is absolutely mind-blowing. So truly, thank you guys so much, but thank you guys all so much for watching. I'll see you guys later. Take care, and hopefully you guys are excited for Operation Grand Heist. Peace.